Today is grill day. I've been waiting on this day for a long time. And what better way to kick off a weekend than doing a little bit of grilling, right? So here's my two donor pieces. This is all the stock grill, unfortunately, that I have. It's not even the stock grill. I'm not really sure what this is off of, but they're going to become a vintage modified grill. So I have a couple of ideas on what I'm going to do here. I did not draw out like a blueprint or a picture of what I wanted because I kind of set out to make some drawings and I just wasn't happy with it, wasn't happy with it. So I'm like, screw it. Let's just start slapping some metal together and see what happens. So that's my plan. Let's get started. Do my shrinking and my stretching on this to get the shape that I'm looking for. I'm going to be using a series of hammers, both dead blow rubber type and steel hammers to do stretching, as well as a couple of body hammers and dollies. I've also got this waffle hammer, which will be nice to kind of shrink back some material if I get an oil can spot where it's overstretched for its area. I can also use heat. There's several things at my discretion that I can use, and I'll be doing it all on my steel fab table. This is a really thick steel fab table, and it gives me something I could bead on so that when I'm trying to stretch this material to get the shape that I'm looking for, it just makes life a little bit easier. Well, we're definitely making progress there. I really like the layback on it. I like the point at the bottom. I'm pretty happy with the fitment. Yeah, So if you've been paying attention, you'll see that as I was building these corner sections here, I was using my hammer and I was kind of beating the crap out of it, trying to stretch it, because it is kind of it's a tough area because it's got to roll this direction and this direction. So you've got to stretch this point right here so that you can get it kind of, I don't want to say knobbed out, but you got to stretch it so you can get kind of a little bit of a bulge there. It's kind of difficult to see, but it's there. This side, I think it's a little bit easier to see because you can see kind of some of my hammer marks in it. But by the time it's all done and it's got filler and all the pieces are on it, I think it's gonna look really good. We've got quite a ways on this now. I've got the top part of the shell figured out. I still have to build a cap for this area. But the radiator that I am going to get, it's going to be a Howe radiator. But I'm going to cut the top tank off of it when I get it, and I'm going to kind of revamp it, and I'll build my own top. And I want it to kind of mimic what the old 30s radiators were, how they were kind of rounded on top and they had the cap in the center. I will have the cap in the center. When I do get my new radiator in and get it installed, I will finish this top piece, which I'm hoping will be this week. I do like the bottom. I've got the car sitting on the cross member right now, so I know this is the max amount of travel that I will see. I am going to raise that a little bit, probably a quarter, maybe 3/8 of an inch, and I'm going to use a piece of ABS plastic as my splitter. And inside of this, I will pan all of this inside, so any air that comes in will be forced through the radiator. I'm going to do the same system I did here with steel so that I can make sure that it's sealed up. It's sealed up all the way up the side. It'll be sealed up at the top. Any air that goes in the front will go through the radiator. It'll be forced to go through the radiator. Also, I still have yet to build my grill bars. I'm going to have a bunch of vertical bars to protect the radiator. But before I can do all that, I've got to finish up my shell. I need to finish out this corner before I can go much further. I like the way that it's kind of pointed here, but this is going to be kind of a difficult roll with how I finish out this side. I want to kick it up the back somehow, and I still need to figure out what the length is. Where it's sitting right now, you do see some of that radiator exposed, so I do need to figure out what I'm going to do to clean this back edge up and over the top. So my next step is going to be figuring out what exactly I'm going to do with this corner here. And just like I've been doing on the rest of it, I'm just going to start beating on some metal to see what looks good. I've now got the lower sides in. They're pretty symmetrical. They worked out really, really well. They're even on both sides. I'm not quite happy with this bottom corner yet. I'm going to do a little bit of radiusing in there. Also on this side, I'm going to trim it up where it kind of flows away into the side and carries up the top. But unfortunately, when I was building this piece, all of my filming, for some reason, didn't turn out. There is my piece of cardboard that I built as my template, and again, just like I normally do, I kind of wadded it all up so that it will contour correctly. I got the contour that I liked, and I copied it out of steel, and I took it over to my sheet metal table, and I beat the crap out of it to get the fit that I like. I did have to do a little bit of stretching on this side, as well as a little bit of shrinking on this inside with my shrinker stretcher, just so that I can get it to fit correctly. I think it worked out really, really well. here's where we're at. There's obviously it's multiple pieces. It's the lower pieces that we saw. I got these side pieces in. I got the top up and around. I'm pretty happy with it. It's got a really, really nice shape. I still need to reinforce the back side with some sort of a rod, probably 1/2 inch round tubing, just to beef it up a little bit. That way I could build my mounts off of it. Boy, I tell you, it sure does look good, doesn't it? The inside of the grill shell looks kind of primitive, but you can kind of see how we built the supports in there. I used 5/8 round tubing. I just had it and it was easy to bend, so I used it. You can see all my spot welds where I had attached it. Just like on the outside, I'm going to go through and I'm going to grind these up, clean them up, just so that there's no sharp edges if I'm reaching around and I don't cut myself. But like I say, the inner paneling will weld in and it will be a nice strong structure. I'm actually quite surprised at the weight of it. It's not near as heavy as I had anticipated it to be. I mean, obviously we still have more stuff we have to add. We still got a bunch of welding to do. We got to tap all this stuff down to make it nice and strong. Weld the backs of all that. But yeah, I think it's going to work out really, really well.